This is Al Gunby speaking once again. Our second Radio on the Air Mystery Theater presentation tonight is Lucille Fletcher's timeless classic 1943 thriller, Sorry, Wrong Number.
Suspense. This is your narrator, the Man in Black, here with you once again to introduce this week's tale of suspense.
Hi there, this is Stu Smith speaking for Autolite. Learning to drive a car for the first time isn't easy, is it? Well, knowing what goes on inside that car, how it runs, isn't so easy to learn either. Most folks just don't have the time to do that. Well, that's what your Autolite dealer is for. And you know, if your car hasn't been running as smoothly lately as you're used to, well, your local neighborhood Autolite dealer is there to help you find out why. One thing that's critical to the operation of any automobile is the proper function of the spark plugs. By matching the appearance of your spark plugs with his handy indicator chart, he can show you in a jiffy just what condition your spark plugs are in and if they're right for the kind of driving that you do. Remember, all Autolite spark plugs are precision engineered by the same Autolite engineers that designed the original factory equipment on many of our leading makes of fine cars and trucks. So, for tops in quality and tops in performance, visit your authorized Autolite dealer. Easy to find them. Just look for the familiar red and black Autolite sign. To quickly and easily learn his location, simply pick up your phone and dial Western Union by number and ask for Operator 25. Operator 25, please.
That's me, and I'll be glad to give you the number of your nearest Autolite dealer. Just call me, Operator 25, Western Union.
And remember, from bumper to tail light, you're always right with Autolite.
Tonight, our Autolite suspense story is Lucille Fletcher's thrilling tale, Sorry, Wrong Number, brought to you complete and uninterrupted. If you've been with us before, you will know that suspense is compounded of mystery and suspicion and dangerous adventure. In this series are tales calculated to intrigue you, to stir your nerves, to offer you a precarious situation, and then withhold the solution, when there is one, until the last possible moment. And so it is with the story, Sorry, Wrong Number.
A woman accidentally overhears a conversation with death and frantically attempts to prevent murder from claiming an innocent victim in this story of suspense.
Oh dear.
Your call, please.
Operator, I've been dialing Murray Hill 42253 now for the last 3/4 of an hour, and the line is always busy. I don't see how it could be busy that long. Will you try it for me, please?
I will be glad to try that number for you. One moment, please.
I just don't understand how it could be busy all this time. It's my husband's office. He's working late tonight, and I'm quite alone here, and well, it's Eloise's night off, and
I see. Well, I'm ringing Murray Hill 42253 for you now.
Thank you, operator.
Hello?
Hello? Hello, is Mr. Stevenson there?
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello, George?
Yes, sir. This is George speaking.
Hello. Who's this? What number am I calling, please?
I'm here with our client.
Oh, good. Is everything okay? Is the coast clear for tonight?
Yeah, George. He says the coast is clear for tonight.
Okay.
Hello.
Where are you now?
I'm in a phone booth. Don't worry. Everything's okay.
Who is this?
Well, very well. You know the address?
Yeah, I know. 11 o'clock. Private patrolman goes around to the bar on 2nd Avenue for a beer.
That's right. Exactly 11 o'clock.
I make sure that all the lights downstairs are out.
There should only be one light visible from the street.
Yeah, I know. At 11:15, train crosses the bridge. Makes a noise in case her window's open. She would scream.
Oh, hello. What number is this, please?
Okay, I understand, I tell you. 11:15, the train.
Yeah. You remember everything else, George?
Yeah, make it quick. A little blood as possible.
Oh, my Lord.
Because our client does not wish her to suffer very long.
That's right. And you'll use a knife.
Yes, a knife will be okay. Afterwards, I remove the rings and the bracelets and the jewelry in the bureau drawer because our client wishes it to look like simple robbery. Don't worry, everything's okay. I never made...
Oh, how awful, how unspeakably awful. Operator. She was just there.
Your call, please?
Operator, I've just been cut off.
Oh, I'm sorry, madam. What number were you calling?
Why, I don't know. It was supposed to be Murray Hill 42253, but it wasn't. Some wires must have crossed. I was cut into a wrong number, and I've just heard the most dreadful thing, something about a murder, and operator, you simply have to retrace that call at once.
I beg your pardon. May I help you?
Oh, I know it was a wrong number, and I had no business listening, but these two men, they were cold-blooded fiends. And they were going to murder somebody, some poor innocent woman who was all alone in a house near a bridge. And, well, we've got to stop them. We've got to.
What number were you calling, madam?
Well, that doesn't matter. This was a wrong number, and you dialed it for me, and we've got to find out what it was immediately.
What number did you call?
Oh, why do you keep saying that? It's so silly. Oh, what time is it? Oh, what are you saying? Do you mean to tell me you can't find out what that number was just now?
I'd better connect you with the chief operator.
Oh, but I think it's perfectly silly. Oh, now look, it was obviously a case of some little slip of the finger. I told you to try Murray Hill 42253. You dialed it, but your finger must have slipped, and I was connected with some other number, and I could hear them, but they couldn't hear me, you see. And now, couldn't you just make that same mistake again on purpose? Why couldn't you simply try to dial Murray Hill 42253 in the same sort of careless way?
Murray Hill 42253?
Yes?
I will try it again for you, madam.
Well, thank you.
I'm sorry. Murray Hill 42253 is busy. Well, what if I were to call you back in 20 minutes?
You didn't try to get that wrong number at all. I asked you explicitly, and all you did was dial it correctly. Now,
I'm sorry, but that was the number you were calling.
Well, can't you just forget that number and do something else for me? Now, look, I want you to trace that call. It's our civic duty to trace that call and to apprehend those dangerous killers.
I will connect you with the chief operator.
Oh, please. Dear.
This is the chief operator.
Chief operator, yes. I would like you to trace a telephone call immediately, please. I don't know where it came from or who was making it, but it's absolutely necessary that it be tracked down. I mean, someone's life is in danger. It was about a murder that someone's planning, a terrible, cold-blooded murder of a poor, innocent woman tonight at 11:15.
I see.
Well, can you trace it for me? Can't you track down those men?
I'm not certain. You see, it depends.
Depends on what, for heaven's sake?
It depends on whether the call is still going on. If it's a live call, we can trace it on the equipment. If it's been disconnected, we can't.
Disconnected?
Yes, if the parties have stopped talking to each other.
Oh, but of course they must have stopped talking to each other by now. That was at least 5 minutes ago, and they didn't sound like the type who would make a long call.
Well, I can try tracing it. May I have your name, please?
Mrs. Stevenson, Mrs. Albert Stevenson. But listen.
And your telephone number, please?
Plaza 4, 2295. But if you go on wasting all this time,
Now,
then...
I have to ask you, why do you want this call traced, please?
What? Well, no reason. I mean, I merely felt very strongly that something ought to be done about it. These two men sounded like killers. They're dangerous. They're going to murder this woman at 11:15 tonight, and I thought the police ought to know.
And have you reported this to the police?
Well, no, not yet, of course.
I see. You want this call checked purely as a private individual?
Well, yes, I guess so. But meanwhile,
I'm sorry, Mrs. Stevenson, but I'm afraid we couldn't make this check for you and trace the call just on your say-so as a private individual. We'd have to have something more official.
Oh, good heavens. Are you telling me that I can't report a murder plan without becoming tied up in all this red tape? Oh, that just can't be. Oh, well, all right. I'll call the police.
Thank you. I'm sure that would be the best way to...
It's all so perfectly ridiculous. Good heavens, where did she go?
Your call, please?
The police department operator, please. I must speak to the police department.
Thank you, madam.
Police station, precinct 43. Sergeant Martin speaking.
Police department, yes, this is Mrs. Stevenson, Mrs. Albert Smythe Stevenson of 53 North Sutton Place. I'm calling up to report a murder. I mean, the murder hasn't been committed yet, you see. It's just that I overheard these two men, plans for it over the telephone, over a wrong number that the operator gave me. I've been trying to trace down the call myself, you see, but everybody is so, well, it's all so silly, and I guess in the end, you're the only people who can do anything.
Yes, ma'am.
It was a perfectly definite murder plan. I heard their plans distinctly. Two men were talking, and they were going to murder some woman at 11:15 tonight. She lived in a house near a bridge, and... Are you listening to me?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
And there was a private patrolman on the street. He was going to go around for a beer on 2nd Avenue, and there was a client, and I suppose, who was paying to have this poor woman murdered, and they were going to take her rings and bracelets and use a knife. Well, it's unnerved me dreadfully, and I'm afraid I'm not well. I'm an invalid, you see, and I'm all alone here by my phone, and, my husband is...
I see. When was all this, ma'am?
Oh, well, it was about 8 minutes ago. Then you can do something?
What is your name, ma'am?
Mrs. Stevenson, Mrs. Albert Stevenson. I just told you.
And your address?
Well, I told you that too. All right. 53 North Sutton Place. 53 North Sutton Place. That's near the Queensboro Bridge, you know, and we have a private patrolman on our street. And 2nd Avenue is only just...
And what was that number you were calling?
Murray Hill 42253, but that wasn't the number I overheard. I mean, Murray Hill 42253 is my husband's office. He's working late tonight, and I was trying to reach him to ask him to come home. I'm confined to my bed, and it's Eloise's, my maid's, night off, and I hate to be alone like this, but although he says I'm perfectly safe as long as I have this telephone here by my bed.
We'll look into it, Mrs. Stevenson. We'll see if we can check it with the telephone company.
But the telephone company said they couldn't check the call if the parties had stopped talking. I've already taken care of that.
Oh, you have?
Yes, and don't you see, I feel you ought to do something far more immediate and drastic than just check. What good does checking do if they've stopped talking? By the time you've tracked them down, well, they'll have already committed the murder.
We'll take care of it. Don't you worry.
Well, wouldn't the whole thing call for a search of some sort at least? Now, as it happens, I'm very near a bridge myself, and I'm not far from 2nd Avenue, and I know I would certainly feel much better if you sent around a radio car to this neighborhood.
And what makes you think the murder's going to be committed in your neighborhood, ma'am?
Oh, well, I don't mean that. Only the coincidence is so horrible. 2nd Avenue, the patrolman, the bridge.
2nd Avenue is a very long street, ma'am. You know how many bridges there are in the city of New York alone?
Oh, yes, I know that.
Not to mention Brooklyn, Staten Island, Queens, the Bronx.
Oh, well, yes, of course. Now that's just silly.
How do you know there isn't some little house on Staten Island on some little 2nd Avenue you've never even heard about? How do you know they're even talking about New York at all?
But I heard the call on the New York dialing system.
Maybe it was a long-distance call you overheard.
Oh, don't. Why, that's just the silliest. Now look here.
Telephones are funny things. Look, lady, why don't you look at it this way? Supposing you hadn't broken in on that telephone. Supposing you'd got your husband the way you always do. You wouldn't be so upset, would you?
Well, no, I suppose not. But you don't understand. It all sounded so inhuman, so cold-blooded. What does Albert have to do with this?
A lot of murders are plotted in this city every day, ma'am. We manage to prevent almost all of them.
Oh, now really, Sergeant, I don't think...
But a clue of this kind is so vague, it isn't much more use to us than no clue at all.
Oh, but surely you don't... I mean...
Unless, of course, you have some reason for thinking this call was phony and that someone may be planning to murder you.
Me? Oh, no. I hardly think so. I mean, why should anybody? You see, I'm alone most of the day and night. I see nobody except my maid, Eloise, and she brings me up my breakfast tray, and the only other person is my husband, Albert, and Albert's always been in love with, he adores me. And since my illness began, 12 years ago, he's been a godsend.
Well, then, there's nothing for you to worry about. Now, if you'll just leave the rest of this to us, we'll take care of it.
But what will you do? It's so late. I mean, it's nearly 11 now.
We'll take care of it, lady.
But what will you do?
Lady, I said we'd take care of it. Just now, I've got a couple of other matters here on my desk that require immediate attention. Good night, ma'am, and thank you.
Oh, you can't. Wait. Oh, why doesn't Albert come home?
Your call, please?
Operator, will you please ring that Murray Hill 42253 number again? What on earth can be keeping him so long?
I'll try it for you, madam. I will.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, madam. Murray Hill forward 22553 is still busy. Now, if you'll let me try again...
Oh, heavens! You don't have to tell me it's busy. I can hear it for myself. Oh, if I could only get out of this bed for just a little while. If I could just get a breath of fresh air. Just lean out the window. even just see the street. Hello, Albert? Hello? Oh, now what's the matter with this phone? Hello? It's stopped. Hello? Oh, for heaven's sake, who is this? Who's trying to call me?
Your call, please.
Hello, operator. I don't know what's the matter with this telephone tonight, but it's positively driving me crazy. What's happening?
I really am sorry about this, madam. What can I do?
Well, I haven't had one bit of satisfaction out of one call I've made this evening. It would seem the whole world could be murdered and no one would care. And now my phone keeps ringing and stopping. And when I pick it up, there's no one there.
I'm so sorry, madam. Perhaps if you will hang up, I can test it for you.
Test it? All anybody wants to do is test everything and check everything. Are you people crazy? There are murderers out there. Murderers, I tell you. Can't you just put that call through now, whatever it was, or at least try?
Put it through? You mean, oh. But I'm unable to do that, madam. You see, the dial system is automatic. If someone is trying to dial your number, there is no way to check it to see if the call is coming through the system or not, unless the person who's trying to reach you complains to his particular operator.
Complains? You must be joking. And meanwhile, I've got to sit here in my bed every time that phone rings, imagining everything.
I will try to check the trouble for you.
Oh, what's the use of talking to you? For heaven's sake, I'm going out of my mind. Oh, let it ring. Let it go on ringing. It's stopped again. What's the matter? Why did they stop ringing all of a sudden? Oh, what time is it? It's 5 to 11. Oh, that's it. They know I'm home. They heard my voice answer the phone just now. Oh, I have to call the operator again.
Your call, please?
Operator, give me the police department, please.
Thank you, madam. I'm sorry. The line is busy.
Busy? Why, that's impossible. The police department can't be busy. There must be some other lines available.
The line is busy. I will try to get them for you later, madam.
Oh, no, I've got to speak to them now, or it may be too late. I've got to talk to someone. Stop it. Oh, hello. What do you want? Stop ringing, will you? Stop it.
Hello? Is this Plaza 242295?
Yes. I'm sorry. Yes, this is Plaza 42295.
This is Western Union. I have a telegram here for Mrs. Albert Stevenson. Is there anyone there to receive the message?
I'm Mrs. Stevenson.
The telegram is as follows. Mrs. Albert Stevenson, 53 North Sutton Place, New York. Darling, terribly sorry. Tried to get you for the last hour, but line busy. Leaving for Boston 11 p.m. tonight on urgent business. Back tomorrow afternoon. Keep happy. Love, signed, Albert.
Oh, no.
Do you wish us to deliver a copy of the message?
What? No. No. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Good night.
Good night. I don't believe it. I'm going to be all alone tonight. Oh, let's see. Oh, information. Yes.
information. May I help you?
Yes, I would like the telephone number of Henchley Hospital.
Henchley Hospital. Do you have the street address?
No, but it's somewhere in the 70s. It's a very small private hospital. That's Henchley, H-E-N.
One moment, please.
Thank you. Oh, what is the time?
Oh, you may find out for yourself the time by dialing Meridian 71212.
No time to be dialing.
The number of Henchley Hospital is Butterfield 70105, and I believe the approximate time is
Butterfield 70105. One.
Good evening.
Nurses Registry, please.
Who was it you wished to speak to, please?
I need to speak with Nurses Registry at once, please. I need to hire a trained nurse immediately, just for the night.
I see. And what is the nature of the case, madam?
I need a companion. I'm all alone here. I'm confined to my bed, you see, and my husband has been called away suddenly.
Have you been recommended to us by any doctor in particular, madam?
No, not this time. 2 years ago, Dr. Wilkinson treated me but I really don't see why all this catechizing is necessary. I just need a trained nurse for the night.
We quite understand that, madam. But this is wartime, you know, and registered nurses are very scarce just now. And our superintendent has asked us to send people out only on cases where the physician in charge feels that it is absolutely necessary.
Well, it is absolutely necessary. I'm alone in this house, and if someone doesn't come at once, I'm afraid I may go out of my mind.
I see. Well, I'll speak to Miss Phillips as soon as she returns. And what is your name, please?
Miss Phillips. And when do you expect her in?
Well, I really couldn't say. She went out to supper at 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock. Well, it's not yet 11. Oh, no. Oh, no. My watch has stopped. Oh, I forgot to wind it. What time is it?
It's just 15 minutes past 11, madam.
Oh, my God. What was that? There's someone downstairs. I must call someone now. While they're still down there, or it'll be too late.
Your call, please?
Operator, I'm in desperate trouble.
I'm sorry. I cannot hear you. Please speak louder.
I don't dare. There's someone listening. Now can you hear me?
I'm sorry, but...
Wait. You've got to hear me. Oh, please. You've got to help me. There's someone in this house. Someone who's going to murder me. And you've got to get in touch with him. Oh! He's coming up. He's coming up the stairs. Give me the police department, please.
Oh, dear madam, I will connect you.
Oh, I hear him. Hurry. Oh, I can...
Sergeant Martin speaking. Police Department, Sergeant Martin speaking. Police Department, Sergeant Martin speaking. Police Department, Sergeant Martin speaking.
Police department? Oh, don't worry, everything's okay. I'm sorry. Must have got the wrong number.
And so closes tonight's tale of Suspense. This is your narrator, the man in black, who conveys to you our invitation to spend this half hour in suspense with us again next week, when we'll bring you another terrifying tale.
Well, hello again. This is Stu Smith back speaking for Autolite. You know, my next door neighbor Charlie was leaving for work the other day, and his car wouldn't start. He came over, asked me for some help, and after quite a bit of looking around under the hood, we figured out the problem. His battery was out of water. But you know, all Charlie really needed was an Autolite Stay Full battery. The battery that only has to be filled 3 times a year in normal car use. You see, the same amount of water in the Autolite Stay Full battery covers the place with more room to spare than with regular batteries. So you don't have to fill it so often. And that means there's almost 3 times as much reserve in an Autolite Stay Full battery for 3 times the protection. So why don't you make it a point to drop in and see your neighborhood Autolite battery dealer soon? And like I said earlier, to find out his location quickly and easily, just pick up your phone and dial Western Union and ask for Operator 25. Operator 25, please.
That's me again. And don't forget, I'll be happy to give you the number of your nearest Autolite dealer. Just call me, Operator 25 at Western Union.
Well, I guess that's it from Autolite. So remember, from bumper to tail light, you're always right with Autolite.
Tonight, Autolite has brought you Suspense and Lucille Fletcher's classic 1943 tale, Sorry, Wrong Number, complete, uninterrupted, and commercial-free. In tonight's cast of Sorry, Wrong Number, Carol Collar played Mrs. Stevenson, and Kathleen Thompson played the operators, information, and the hospital receptionist. Al Gunby played George the Killer, and Stu Smith played Desk Sergeant Martin. Larry Blaine played the other man on the phone, the Western Union imposter, and was our suspense man in black. For tonight's performance, our light booth operator has been Margaret Foster. The onstage sound was by Larry Blaine and David Bryant, and Megan Hennigs provided our onstage music. Our production of Sorry Wrong Number was under the direction of Ken Jones. Tonight's broadcast of Suspense was transmitted to our troops overseas by the Armed Forces Radio Service. Now, until next time, this is your Radio on the Air announcer, Al Gunby, saying good night. This is the American Broadcasting System.